Hello, everyone. Welcome to Meticulous Talks on May 25th. I'm Chris, of course.
And I'm Hifrock.
Good to talk to you again.
Yeah, excited to talk about some ponies.
Very excited to talk about some ponies. I was not expecting us to have so many spoilers to talk about for this stream. Uh, Sim gave us a great big pile of them in their stream last week.
Yeah, a lot of mains too.
A lot of mains. Yes, that's an important point I wanted to bring up. That's because of the core rotation. Mains are going to be a huge deal for all the colors. Um, so lots of things to think about now, yeah, in terms of which direction colors will be going in. And in case anyone missed it, we also had a spoiler drop just yesterday, courtesy of Diamond Song for blog.
Mm-hmm.
So if you haven't seen that, it'll be at the end of our stream. But in total, that makes I think it's 16 cards. So we should probably get onto it.
I see more than 16. There's 18 slides. So there's that plus the one of the there's 17 slides with cards.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe it's not surprising, but yeah, there's some extra new ones on the end there that no one else has seen yet. So stay tuned for that. I was trying to bury the lead, but fair enough.
I was just looking at numbers. Oops.
All right.
Oops.
I'm sure it
Okay.
comes as no surprise to anyone.
Oops. I feel bad now. Okay.
It's all right. All right. So
Well,
starting out then.
starting with Hitch.
Starting out with Hitch, first one. So yeah, as I mentioned, we covered this a little bit during our rotation stream. Yellow is losing Thorax, Fluttershy, that's Nurturing Nature, of course, and Novo. And the only mains left in Leader's Block are Yuna and the Fluttershy that's been nerfed into the ground.
She's still playable.
She is still playable.
It's just Thorax is so much better. That's why she never sees play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, interesting to see, because Yuna is fairly specific in terms of what she does.
Yeah.
Fluttershy is fairly general purpose, but yeah. As far as this main goes, it's Trailblazer. On the start side, you need to challenge a troublemaker, this card's problem, or confront this card's problem with a critter friend here. Turn it over. So not too bad. Could be your own troublemaker.
Could be.
And on the other side, only at 5, and at the start of a face-off, or at the start of the score phase, you may exhaust this card to choose an opposing friend or troublemaker. This time, gotta be opposing, so unfortunately not a farm deck. Till the end of the turn, that friend or troublemaker has -1 power for each of your critter characters. It kind of feels a little thoraxy.
Yeah, that was my immediate thought. It's like a toned down version of Thorax, right? It works like the power difference thing. Only it's the same thing where you get power for your critters, except Thorax gets power for more stuff than critters, but this case critters, and it's now the power difference that you get, not the actual power, which is for face-offs it's the same thing kind of, but for confronts it doesn't work for confronts. So
yeah. So still have the same help against troublemakers, as long as the opponent doesn't end the face-off or whatever. But that worked against Thorax too. It doesn't give you the enormous help of requirement. Not that that was a big deal before. it is at the start of the score phase, not necessarily your score phase. You can use it to make it harder for the opponent to confront stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So in some ways, that's better than Thorax.
In some ways, yeah. If you're playing a little bit more mid-range, or I don't want to say control, yellow control. Those are words that don't go together.
They should, though.
Maybe they should. As far as the flip condition goes, it's pretty easy, probably.
I don't quite like. Confront to flip is one of the most annoying conditions. That's why we kind of moved away from it. Granted, this also when you challenge a troublemaker, which makes like that part much easier. But you also have to have a critter, and you have to have it there. Mm-hmm. That is very specific.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're gonna need to have entry critters.
Yeah.
Look again.
I mean, Beth Hair Day works, right?
Oh shoot! This is actually I should be on your site. That's a better way to do this.
You could do Bad Hair Day. You could do Gummy. No, Gummy is Sequestria, so we cannot actually do Gummy, right?
Yep.
Is Gummy Sequestria? It is. Wow.
Yeah, actually, in
Weatherweight is not no good anymore, unlike it was for Thorax, one of the best openings. Move your main, play Featherweight. Not the case here, because Featherweight is not a critter that will not actually flip your main.
There is Cockatrice Migration.
Ah.
One requirement, get you some critter friends. One cost to flip your main, well, to need to move your main too, but that's not a bad opener.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, you're moving your main no matter what in order to confront or challenge. It's just that just has to happen.
Yeah.
But like, there aren't a ton of options to flip your main very quick.
Not in the cards we've got, no.
So that's what, like, I think this flip condition is very, very hard. Well, maybe not very, very hard. There are stronger contenders in that area, but it is much harder than Thorax, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
And Thorax is confront to flip, which is not an easy thing to do as well.
That's true. Yep. Thorax was vulnerable to getting blocked out in a bad start situation, especially now that Lacking Lesson Plans is going away. Although, granted, Tempest is also going away, so don't have to worry about that as much. I guess a lot is going to depend on how many ways we see to get that early critter.
Yes, and like, how would you see this main being used? Like, is it an aggro deck? Is it mid range? Is it control? Like in a pure aggro deck, I think you just go the Fluttershy. She's
probably
so much easier to flip. You get stuff for dilemmas. But with Hitch, yeah, I think you're right. And like you said earlier, that probably a more mid-range option.
I think so. Yeah. Like, so you want to have critter characters in play, which means like that more stuff means confronting problems. But yeah, these abilities are all towards winning the face-offs, kind of sort.
Or not letting your opponent confront.
Yeah, disruption on your opponent's turn. and you have the homeland at 5, which is going to help you in the long run as well for that. So
Yeah.
yeah, seems reasonable. Again, if there are ways to flip them over easily, if there are more ways to flip them over easily.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what I looked at is just the like things you can do like immediately. Of course, you can play featherweight and then play some other critter, but that's much slower.
Yeah, yeah, and interestingly enough, I suppose it's worth pointing out, he doesn't have that vulnerability that Thorax had. If there's a troublemaker at the problem, well, whatever, great. There's a troublemaker there. That also works.
Honestly, a troublemaker there is like easier because you don't have to confront anything. You just have to challenge it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you will move the thing home, but like sometimes confronting is more difficult. Well, depends on what kind of problem deck you have. But yeah.
All right. Moving along. So we come into the kind of the batch of cards that followed after Itch. Lily, Bright Future, cost 1 power, pink, Earth Pony. In the main phase, hire a friend to give this card +2 power at the end of the turn. I do enjoy. We used to have a friend a long time ago back in Camelot Nights named Lily that did something very similar to this. It was when it entered play, you retired a friend to add the retired friend's power to this card's power.
Yeah.
And it was also an entry friend. I don't know if it's. I assume it's deliberate on Sim's part, but it's cool all the same.
Yeah.
This one, of course, has much better synergy with token friends. If it's something cheap and small that you're retiring to get more power out of it, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Not a lot of decks run those, but we'll see where pink goes.
Yeah, certainly not the pink tokens. I keep reminding myself that Bodyguard's going to be gone. That's.
Is it time for pink yellow with Hitch main and critters?
Kind of interesting.
Unfortunately for you, strawberry is no longer.
Yeah, she's gone.
An option.
It's all right. I'll find something else, or else I just start playing adventure.
But yeah, this seems like it's a good draft card, I guess. I don't really see this card in the competitive scene, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, well, it depends on if it's easy to get, disposable friends as pink.
Yeah,
but just 2 power to retire an entire friend, that's a little on the lower side, I think.
Yeah, and it's got to be main phase too. That's the thing. So it can't be like triggers on confront that put more tokens into play or other stuff like that.
I mean, it is 1-for-1 though.
Yeah, like it does have the potential in the late game, in a late game scenario, perhaps to enter play, eat your home, and then be a 5 or something like that. And if you have triggers on stuff leaving play, then pretty good. Which I feel like there's. I remember seeing some cards we've seen already that. Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe this is amazing for those cadence decks that play a lot of stuff.
That's a good point. Cheap entry friend for cadence is something that's good to have.
And then you all have all of those 1 power friends that you can retire for more power. So yeah, maybe this card is for cadence. But yeah, otherwise simple card, simple effect.
Yeah, good to have some of those.
It's Sorin, except not blue, right?
And not immediate.
And not
Yeah.
immediate, yes.
Yeah.
I love immediate.
Immediate is the best word to have on a card.
Well, no, it's the probably second best word.
That's a good point. And finishing off that little batch, that first batch, is a card with immediate on it. Thunderflap, Green Guard, cost 1, 2 power, 3 requirement in blue and purple. Discard a card to give this card +1 power and eccentric 1 till the end of the turn. You move this card, at the end of the turn, fighting this card. This is one of the ones that we played with in the anniversary stream, right?
Yes. I think so. Was it? I don't. It was so long ago.
I'm pretty sure. I remember seeing a card with this name.
Name.
In there somewhere. Yeah.
Oh. No, I cannot remember. But like the effect sounds familiar. So.
So cost efficient. And with immediate speed to get even more power as needed. Right, but with the caveat that if you use that ability, it's getting frightened at the end of the turn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So another kind of like I thought about Lily as a card that like you get that sort of benefit for this turn, but you're paying a fairly significant cost in terms of in terms of retiring stuff. This is also like paying a fairly significant cost in terms of discarding stuff, and it's only good for one turn.
Yeah, this you get rid of a card and it gets frightened, so that's like a little less than 380 in cost to use the ability in pure value. And like, I mean, +1 and eccentric 1 can be really meaningful sometimes, and this card is just 1 cost for 2 power.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't remember in our anniversary game. I think I found uses for this card, but I cannot remember.
I feel like you played it, yeah. Like yeah, the eccentric is significant. That I mean, depending on how many cards you have to discard, but it is a thing that your opponent will have to consider if this is not a problem and you've got a mitt full of cards in hand. They may or may not be able to confront it. And even if they do manage to power through the eccentric, then in the face-off, this card has a lot of power.
But like, well, presumably it's since it's immediate, you use it when they would not be able to power through eccentric, unless they play something else,
Well,
like hasty.
Well, yeah, that's what I assumed. A hasty or a event or something. Yeah.
Like it reminds me, like the eccentric. I love eccentric, honestly. Like an immediate effect. I think eccentric is a very cool effect to have on an immediate speed card. It's a like good response. You can use it strategically when you like you know your opponent are not gonna do something or can't do like. There's a lot of things I like about eccentric, and this reminds me of remember the hasty Skystar?
Yep.
With eccentric 4.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of like that, except it's proactive and it's just eccentric 1.
Yep. Yeah, I really wish that card had been around. Because yeah, hasty eccentric 4 seems like such a significant disruption tool.
Yeah.
It's just a bit too expensive.
Yeah, and I mean generally removing stuff is more efficient. But I do like eccentric. Yeah, I like eccentric in a lot of ways. A little tangent here, since we haven't had those in a while. Like, there's so many good things about eccentric. Eccentric and hasty is really fun, but also eccentric is really fun when your opponent forgets about it.
Mm-hmm.
That is the best. It's like, oh, I want to confront there. Nope.
No.
I have eccentric too.
Yep.
We need more eccentric cards.
Well, if apparently like eccentric is, it was already a purple thing. Now here it is again, showing up on a purple card. So
yeah,
seems like if it's moving it,
old money should have eccentric.
I mean, sure, she can have all the eccentric you want. She's still not legal. You can put as much eccentric as you want.
She's legal in one format. Yeah.
All right. So, and there was another batch. Started off with another main. Our pink main, Izzy Moonbow. On the start side, there needs to be at least 3 cards in a player's discard pile. Turn this card over. So, natural, well, I don't want to say counter per se, but your opponent's playing Celestia, you're both looking in the same spot. And on the boosted side, 3 power, homeland 4, exhaust this card in the main phase to put a friend or resource from your discard pile on top of your deck, and shuffle the top 5 cards of your deck. While this card's exhausted, your friends here have +1 power. So, let me think for a second. Putting a thing back into your deck, you know it's going to be somewhere in the top 5. Which is...
I like the flavor here. It's a good flavorful card.
I suppose I will find that out soon enough.
Yep.
So yeah, like putting it somewhere in the top 5. That's a good kind of, I don't know, well, balancing per se. Like it's not going right on top. It's somewhere around there. You don't know if you're going to flip it for a face-off or draw it or whatever, but it is still back in your deck. And it is, yeah. This is a token synergy card too, isn't it? Because if this exhaust effect is going to have more benefit than the 3 power you lose from exhausting the main, which you do by having a lot of friends there, then you just do it basically all the time, I think. Like, you would just exhaust this every turn that you could.
But wouldn't you move her? Like,
Well,
I think power thing is just a nice to have. I don't think it's something that you rely on often. And like, because like the scenario you described is like, okay, you gotta have a main at a problem. You also have to have 3 other friends there. And then the power thing actually like goes net zero. Like it's a specific. Of course, going like -1 or -2 is also better than going -3. But like, I think the meat of the ability here is the first paragraph, and the second one is just like a nice to have. I don't think it's too relevant.
mm-hmm.
But like, it's the first one is really cool. I think it's reanimation in pink, and it's not like you get it back into your hand or anything. It will come to you at some point. And I mean, pink is also known for drawing cards, so you know.
Yep. It's not reanimation per se; it's recycling.
Yes, it's that's why it's called unicycling.
Yes,
unicycler.
I'm aware of that.
It's unicorn recycling.
Right.
But
okay. I was about to ask if she never rides a unicycle.
It has never to do with unicycles. No.
Okay.
It is unicorn recycling. That's why I like. That's why I like the flavor here. It is. It fits which like her thing well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And and it's so consistent too. You just choose a thing and it's there now. You know?
Yep. In some respects, actually, it's a little bit. Yeah, it's good to have it be somewhere around there because if your opponent's playing a mill deck, they don't necessarily know that it's on top of your deck or whatever. I mean, they're still gonna mill you as soon as you use this ability, but maybe it doesn't hit the thing that you wanted to get back.
Well, we don't have that many mill effects in core. Like there's raise this barn, but it mills 6, so it's
Yeah,
just okay. All of them are gone.
sure. Like so,
uh,
yeah, not in core, but like I think Sim has clearly seen that Rock Turret can support a mill deck. So I wouldn't be surprised if they gave it a little bit of help in core.
sure.
I guess we don't know yet, though. So, fair point.
Oh, yeah. So far, easy is well out of the mains we've seen, which is 2 of them. I like easy very much more than
Uh,
Hitch. Sorry, Hitch.
competing against in pink. Cadence
She is
and having a
the
blast.
party. Yeah, I think it's a good it's a good niche for pink because the canon pinky is well she got nerfed.
Mm-hmm.
And like focuses on removal, but this focuses on recursion basically, essentially.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think for like if you're playing control, I think that's really really good. That's actually well, you can only put friends or
It's true.
resources, but like,
No
but
offense.
if you find friends you want to play constantly, I think that's really really good.
Mm-hmm.
And like for aggro, it could also be very very good. But I see this more of a mid range card or control. Don't see this as
Yeah,
a
probably. Pink is one of the BRB colors, so is likely to have friends that have strong effects on them.
yeah. We need a friend that like puts a unicorn into play every time other friend leaves.
Yeah, I was just talking about why we don't have that.
Okay.
Okay, right. So continuing on, Midnight Snack, one cost event in pink and orange, 2 rec, 3 flip. At immediate speed, dismiss a friend. The friend's controller adds that friend's power to another one of their friends until the end of the turn. Quite a nifty little half and half disruption and tool for yourself. One cost dismissal on anything on the opponent's side, although the power won't go away per se, so long as there's another friend that they can put it on at the same problem. So not necessarily a sort of score phase or face-off disruption tool,
Though it can be sometimes.
though it can be sometimes. But you can do it kind of if you dismiss your own thing, then you do kind of like the orange thing where you're adding power from one place to another. Just you dismiss one of your friends at home to move its power up to a problem or something similar.
It's interesting that it says controller, not the owner.
Hmm.
Even though I believe in this case it would be the same thing because it would be by the time you read this text, the friend is in discard pile. Because you dismiss it first
Yeah.
and then you add the power. So it's like the controller is always the owner. There's no way to control cards in somebody else's discard pile. But I don't know if that's the intent here. Maybe the
Right.
intent here is that
So just to
I don't know.
clarify, if you stole if you stole your opponent's friend and dismissed it with this, they would get the power.
That's the way I'm reading this because again, you dismiss a friend. Once you're done with that, it's in discard pile already, and then that friend controller, which would be whoever owns the card. That's I don't think that's the intent here. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe GP will point out somehow how I'm wrong,
Well,
and there's something in the rules that says otherwise. But the way I read it, no.
GP is unfortunately, I know he's
Not
away.
not in the
He's
chat.
away today, so
Yeah,
we shall see.
maybe he'll listen in on the recording.
Could be.
He usually does.
Yeah.
But yeah,
If that's the case,
if that's the case, there's no reason to write controller. They could have wrote the owner. So, so I think that's not the intention.
right.
But yeah, I like this card. It's kind of like a mini belly flop, you know. Except in orange, it's 1 cost, 3 power, 2 rec instead of 3, but in 2 colors, and it's a removal. And it's not. It's also not just like, oh, you remove the thing and that's it. You need to like think about how the opponent might redistribute power and how can that help them or not. Like, it is not applicable to every scenario, and I kind of like that.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, that means if you're playing orange pink, the opponent should be careful about confronting a problem with a single friend.
Yeah,
because that's the scenario where this can screw them up. Or for that matter, a single friend and their main, because the extra power can only go to a friend, not a character.
which is an interesting restriction. I wonder why can't it go to? Why doesn't it say one of their characters? Maybe there are problems with that. Maybe not.
I don't know. Interesting. Okay. So, then we have Leaf. Cost 4 in white. 3 power, 2 requirement. A dragon. It says when this card enters play, put a 3 power, colorless, dragon ally friend token into play. So it's a 4 cost, 6 power card. But it's split. And usually split is better than single.
Yes.
Granted, only 3 of the power is white, the other 3 is colorless. But yeah, you can distribute it if you've got triggers on stuff entering play, which white does kind of like that sometimes, then that'll be good. It is more dragons for your harmony. I don't know if there's even any harmony effects that care about that.
But it is dragons.
It is dragons. Yeah.
So this one is a good draft card.
Yeah.
I would play this in draft. But I don't think I would play this in constructed. Unless there's some synergy with dragon ally tokens. Maybe there is.
Yeah.
But like in isolation with just what we have already, not from G5, like what we have in core right now or the new core, and this card, I don't think this card is just like, I think this card is kind of a filler.
Yeah. I mean, we know that 4 cost big bodies didn't work as well at orange, so
yeah.
Yeah, without external synergy, seems like just a draft card probably.
Yeah. But 4 for 6 in the draft on 2 bodies is really good, actually.
That is really good. Yeah, I mean, this could with some extra help, but this could conceivably be a 1 card that confronts both problems with other stuff around. Yeah. When did we start naming dragons not after, like, fire stuff? Is that a thing that happened in G5?
I actually don't remember the dragon's name in G5. Well, I mean, Spike was not named after a fire thing.
Sure, but he was named by ponies.
I guess so, yeah. Why didn't ponies give him like a pony name then?
Well,
like Magic Spike.
Don't know.
Wow, I cannot remember any of the dragons' name, although some of them are cute dragons.
Hmm. All right. Well, anyway, not much to say here. We move
Yep.
on to
The best pony.
Yeah, why don't you take this one?
It's Pip Pedals, Social Diva. Pegasus Royalty. Oh man, I wish they spoiled just those two traits and would not spoil anything else in the set. Just like, oh, there's a Pegasus Royalty card. Do with that what you will. When a player, home limit free, when a player plays a friend to this card's problem, you may turn this card over. Boosted side, home limit 5. When an opponent discards or retires one of their friends, you may pay 1 and exhaust this card to put that friend into play here under your control. Pip pip hooray! Well, later ZH, pip pip hooray.
Wait.
ZH for Zephyr Heights.
Ah, okay. There we go.
That's her. She's saying that to the stream.
Right.
Later ZH, pip pip hooray! And
It's
everybody else, pip pip hooray.
I see. It seemed my brain assumed that she had like started to say something and then been interrupted and
Nope.
no. Later ZH, pip pip hooray. Okay. Anyway.
Duh, for the content. Just
Absolutely.
nothing if you
So yeah, in terms of white mains, this is competing against relatively
Chrysalis
stuff. Chrysalis and Rarity.
And Rarity,
yeah.
This is better than Rarity for sure.
Yes. Yeah. So this seems pretty good, I would say.
It depends on what your opponent is playing, right?
It does. So, I mean, your opponent is likely to retire some stuff over the course of the game, even if just a home limit.
Yeah.
Granted, probably won't be particularly good friends you would get. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say that. I mean, they will be good. They were in the opponent's deck after all. And you're only you're only paying 1 for them, regardless.
Yeah.
So, not necessarily going to be terrible.
There's a couple of things to keep in mind here. Thing number 1. The flip condition depends entirely on your opponent.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, it says when a player. I read when an opponent. I don't know why I read that. Okay, never mind.
You didn't think they were actually going to reprint Cadence, would you?
Yeah, that's what I thought. It was like, yeah, that's very hard. Okay, this is an easy flip condition then, compared to Hitch, where you have to jump through several hoops to get it flipped. Here you just, play anything. It's good. Makes sense. Okay, and on the other side, what I was gonna say. Oh. Like, if we unfortunately cornered is rotating out, but do we have anything that's like cornered? Because it says, like, when opponent discards or retire. So, like, you can force them to retire something.
Shoot. Catajack's also rotating, isn't she?
Yes. You could also play orange and force discard them stuff,
Yeah. Yeah, orange, white is, like, the force discard thing.
Like, hold on, what is that card called? My memory is not that good recently. There we go. You can play Eyebrow Raise and get a thing you want. You name a thing and you get it, hopefully. So, like, I think that's the way you would play it. This main, honestly, you would force your opponent to retire stuff, and instead of just hoping that they would someday,
Not a whole lot. Most of the stuff that you retire for yourself.
Yeah. We need what was the name of that resource? Pink white. Where you retire a thing unless you pay 1. It's an Equestrian Odyssey card, I think.
Oh, Fashion Disaster.
That's right. That's what we need. That would be good with this card.
That would be
Well,
pretty
kind of,
good.
because you also have to pay one, but I think that will be still good.
Okay. I add in. Oh, dude. Orange white doesn't actually have the fourth. Or wait, no, that's discard.
Yeah, I don't think we have many forced retires, unfortunately, but it would be cool.
Oh, so there's the rarity in Trenderhoof UR that is effectively yellow Parasprite. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Granted, if you're playing this main, you're not playing Grogar, so you're not playing it super early, probably.
No.
But is a fine opportunity.
Yeah. So, and the second thing to keep in mind, the boosted side here is that you can only put those friends into play where she is at, which makes sense flavorfully.
Very so.
Can be very situational. But like, so I guess like generally, unless she's the problem, you'd use this to get like extra effects, like maybe Eager for your deck or something else. But yeah, it depends entirely on what your opponent is playing, I think.
Yeah.
For some decks, this will be much better than others.
Yeah. I mean, so this is like if your strategy is built around making your opponent discard stuff and retire stuff, that feels like a control deck, probably.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. And if you're playing a control deck, the things that you want, like, you're fairly open in terms of what is useful to you outside of stuff that's just like confront problems and more power and such. Like any resource generator friend, any friend that draws cards, or well, Games AT, but like not that many out there.
Yeah.
Or like or has disruption built into it. Those would all be useful.
Yeah.
I think to try to put a nail on it, like it's white needed a boost, and this is a good boost. I think it is at the very least playable, easily flippable, worth looking at.
Yeah, I think the fact that it's easily flippable is a very good thing. But the boosted effect, I don't like that it is very like it depends very much on what your opponent is playing, and you cannot like rely on what you're gonna get. So like it's sacrifices consistency is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But in some metas, it could be really good.
probably. Yeah.
Like imagine this main doesn't turn out to be good, even though it's pip. It will be good, and then the meta shifts around and things change, and then suddenly somebody come bugle. It'll be if somebody does, it will be bugle.
Probably. Yeah.
Comes with this main and like swipes the thing because this main is actually really good against whatever situation the meta ended up in being.
Yeah, I can see that
Like
happening.
imagine Big Orange was the only thing that people played. This would be pretty good for Big Orange. Well, against Big Orange.
Yeah, get everything.
Or AT generating control decks.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I do like the effect though.
Bit of a shame that BRB effects always. Yeah, they always banish the thing. They don't retire the thing. Oh well. Anyway.
Really good card against belly flop.
Really? Is it?
Nah, depends on what they retire, of course.
I mean, it's probably it's fodder.
It's probably
by
token.
definition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happens if you? Well, I guess you don't get the friend.
Yeah, that doesn't.
Because it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. Interesting. Anyway,
next card
next
also
card.
has Pip in it.
Also, I'll point out we kind of glossed over it, but the home layout 5, I just saw that as it was going off screen there.
I think I did mention it.
Well, I mean, we mentioned it, but it's worth perhaps bringing that up. That's something to consider, especially for a control deck if you want to hang on to AT generators or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, mixed messages. Cost 1. 2 requirement in yellow and white. At immediate speed, choose a character, and then choose 1 power or 5 power. Until the end of the turn, that character has the chosen power, cannot gain or lose power.
So either big or small.
Yes.
That's why it has Pip on it, because it can be small.
I was actually gonna, yeah, either Zip or Pip or something like that. I don't know.
Well, either Queen Haven or Pip, clearly.
I guess, yes.
Queen Haven is a strong character.
Is she? This is a G5 question. Does she show up often?
Oh yeah. Well, I don't. She's not the main character, but he does show up a fair amount, I would say.
That's great. That's great.
Like, if not simply because of the fact that she's a parent of 2 of the main characters.
Right.
Like, but at the same time, Twilight Sparkle is the main character, and you barely see her parents. Like, you see them once, twice, maybe. But yeah, Queen Haven, we see a fair amount more. She has a song. It's pretty good, actually.
That's awesome. If you couldn't tell from all my time in G4, I love characters with executive roles in government.
Sure. So you should like Pip.
Yeah.
She is an influencer. That's kind of like that's an important social role, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, influencer. Yeah. You could call it propagandist, maybe, if you wanted.
Is that what influencers are to you?
If it's part of the government, yes.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. I guess it kind of was, right, in the New Generation movie.
I think so, yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
Neither here nor there. So yeah, it is either a very unlikely that you'll, especially in white and yellow, you'll have any characters up to 5. So this is going to be a boost on your side, or a downgrade on the opponent's side. So nice and versatile.
I mean, you can feel spicy and force a face-off.
You can. I do like single face-offs. These are kind of the interesting colors for that, but yeah, you can do that.
It's the control. Yellow-white control is back.
Maybe. It's also, this is probably going to be a pretty good troublemaker face-off trick. That's could be +3, +4 power in a face-off. That's pretty good. Getting close to Critter Cavalry.
Yeah. Or it is a scary story.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, kind of.
I mean, yeah. Down to 1. Pretty close.
Yeah.
It is also, yeah, it's till end of turn and can't gain or lose. So this is actually an interesting way to deny color requirement to the opponent. If they've got one character with that power, with that color.
Just like Scary Story. It's like
a
lot of the usages that you see of Scary Story can be also applied to this card, except it's 1 power instead of 0, so that has to be considered.
Or a way to fix requirement for yourself if you've got
Yes.
one
But
small little
if you
token.
have
Yeah.
like if you have 2 yellow and 2 white, you probably are good in the requirement at that point. Unless you
Well,
really need extra one of them. But
what if it's a tricolor deck and I want to play my Thorax or whatever?
if it's a tricolor deck, you have the third color to use this card by definition to get more of that
You may
color.
only have one power of it though,
Sure.
or
Okay.
maybe even zero.
Okay, this card could in theory be used like that, sure. But in practice, I don't think.
Okay, probably not. Yes, probably not.
Yeah. But in theory, yeah, a lot of things are possible.
I mean, actually, it's character. So you could have
Yes.
like Bloodstone Sceptered your main and then put this on or something. I don't know. Anyway,
Maybe, yeah. It's a good anti-thorax tool.
it is. That is true. That is true. Okay. So, next up, our first super rare of all the cards we've seen. I think so.
Yeah.
Pretty sure. Zip. Zoom and enhance. Cost 4. 4 power. 3 requirement. Pegasus royalty. With Meticulous 2. That's a lot. Persistent. And vexing. Actually, only 3 keywords, but lots of
Does
reminder
vexing and persistent work together? I
I
don't
don't
remember.
think so, because you're replacing a
It
cost.
used to. It used to, but then it is a cost?
Yeah.
No.
Or wait.
No, it's
Discard
not. It
would
just
leave
says
play. You may frighten it instead. Oh, yeah, no. It's not.
vexing is not a cost.
That's right.
I just don't remember. Oh, yeah, they changed replacing the things that can't happen, but in this case, everything is fine. Yeah, so it is frightened to stop them from confronting, which just sounds really good, actually.
Yeah.
It isn't a 4 cost body, but you do get Meticulous 2 out of it. Although we had really good cards in the past with Meticulous 2 that did not see much play. Like, I'm I'm thinking of Sunset Clever Calculator.
I mean, yeah.
That card is really good.
I wouldn't say it didn't see play. It
It
had
did.
some
It saw some play.
very
It
little, yeah.
was a removal, and it was a Meticulous 2, and it costed 3 for 4. Like that card. If
Well,
that card appeared on this slide, I would say it's like without my period. I would say that this card is good.
yeah. Well,
So
like, yeah, the thing was, it was a kind of mid-rangey aggro-ish purple card, and like in the time that it was around, purple never played that way. It was always combo or control.
that's removal though. Well, I guess there were just better removal options.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it was not repeatable removal, which is important for a control deck. But yeah, I guess my point was that like Meticulous 2 by itself is not something that pushes the card somewhere, unless it's old money. I don't know, even in old money, Meticulous 2 was not the problem. You could remove Meticulous 2 from there, nothing would change.
Yeah.
It would still see as much play as it did. So I think Meticulous 2 part on this card can kind of be ignored, honestly, for several reasons. For the reasons I mentioned, and also if you actually prevent a confront by frightening it, you are not getting the Meticulous 2 anyway. So I think Meticulous 2 doesn't really matter on this card. But the fact that it's a repeatable confront prevention is pretty cool.
Yep. Yep. It is. Yeah. 2 AT. You'll have to spend the 2 AT starting to keep on preventing it. But in purple, 2 AT isn't like, yeah. You have the AT source probably to be able to pay that.
Like, isn't this like if the opponent can't remove this card and they don't have dilemmas, they just never confront 2 problems this game, right? Because you just keep rallying it.
Without dilemmas, like, yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, so
there's the
they
orange
have to remove
card
it.
that lets them do the face off, even only confronting one thing.
Yeah. That's right.
But otherwise, yeah. I mean, or else they're a farm deck and you just lose anyway.
Imagine having prospecting interruption and discard on the other profile.
Ooh.
That's that's delicious. Like you don't even need to run troublemaker control, because you don't need troublemakers anymore. You can just run this card because that's the what troublemakers effectively do.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So yeah, I like this card. Meticulous 2 does not matter. Well, it's nice to have, I guess.
Yeah,
And
and
4 cost is very expensive, but
yeah,
I can see why.
like the interesting thing is that if the opponent tries to do removal on it, then well, I mean, you just persistent
I
it,
have
you
to
frighten
remove
it.
it.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
then
when it's right.
they get their confront, but like, fine, whatever. Sure, you got your confront. I'm still gonna ready it. I'm still gonna rally it next turn, which I was gonna do anyway. If you tried to confront
Well,
anyway.
presumably you try to confront and then you remove it after they frighten it.
Ah, yes. Okay, yeah, that's fair, I guess.
That's the way I would do it. Like, yeah, I'm not getting this confront, but I'm getting rid of the card.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's interesting that this card is just keywords, but it's like these specific keywords mean so much.
They're pretty strong keywords. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, vexing never saw play until like Discord. uh,
Yeah. That's not to say it wasn't a strong keyword.
yeah. It's just with persistent vexing actually becomes very, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this card. It's purple card, so must be good.
I mean, yeah. So, then there was another little batch here.
Oh no, now you know that G5 has spike.
Whatever. Spike. Dragon Lord. Cost 5. 3 power. Colorless. This card enters play with 3 magic counters on it. You can remove a magic counter to put a 3 power colorless dragon ally friend token into play, same as Leaf did. Send a character to a different area. Or shuffle an opposing resource or troublemaker into its owner's deck. So, maybe there is going to be some colorless dragon ally friend synergy. Who knows? That's 2 cards that have mentioned it so far.
Yeah.
As far as all these abilities go, they're all pretty good. I mean, yeah, they're all pretty good.
Yeah.
3 power, wherever you want it, at immediate speed. A send, which gets around all the movement restrictions and is on a character. It can be literally anything. And a resource slash troublemaker removal. Going into the deck is better than getting dismissed in sometimes. It's harder to get it back. And you can refuel it with your magic restored card.
Yeah. So yeah, this is like the other magic restored cards we've seen like in the last stream. The like extra magic effect was kind of like, okay, I guess this costs about 180. But like this is better. This is one magic counter here is either a free power friend, which in some cases is just 180. But in most cases it's at least 2, right?
For
And
a,
then
for a 3 power colorless friend, it's probably in like the 1.5 range.
yeah, and then you send stuff. That's more than 180, I think, because we have
Yeah.
reliving history, and that's very conditional send
It's
for
one with a
180.
bunch of restrictions on it, yeah, so a little
Yes,
more than one, yeah.
and then just straight up remove a resource or a troublemaker. Like this is good, but of course, all of this goodness comes from the fact that you're paying 580 for free power friend.
Right. I mean, are you really
That
ever
has
gonna
no
pay
color.
5 AT for it? This has got Reanimator bait written all over it, I'm sure.
Mm, I'm actually thinking big orange.
Yeah, that works too, I suppose. That's still not paying 5 for it.
Yes. All right. I mean,
Um,
I don't think I have much to say except the
yeah,
effects seem good.
effects are all real good. Um, and you have that, you have the ability to use them all at once or as needed. Like, yeah, yeah, it's just real good.
I wonder why is it unique? Is there? I don't think there's any issue with having more than one.
Other than it just
Like,
being really, really good.
yeah, but like you only have that many magic counters. Like it's not like if you're playing a second one, does it actually matter? Like you get 3 more counters basically by playing it. That's all you're getting.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe it's just flavor reasons.
Could be. Could be.
Oh,
Oh.
I looked at the next card. I like that one.
Oh. Well, yeah. There's card. Angry mob. Cost 2. Full requirement. Orange. Goes to your home. Oh yeah, this is this one. Your friends with one exhaustion marker on
Mm-hmm.
them can become exhausted again. For what it's worth, if you're not aware, the exhaustion rules were changed a little while ago, so it's markers now instead of counters.
Which
Or
is same thing as counters, but legally distinct from counters.
yes, yes. Which I mean, given all the counter stuff happening in this set, very important. Um, and when you ready your first friend each turn, remove all exhaustion markers from it. So when it comes into play, you can double exhaust your stuff, and then for every subsequent turn, one friend gets totally readied, while everything else only gets one ready.
Yeah. I've been asking for this card for years. And I was told, oh, it would be like ever since I've read that exhaustions are counters, I was like, oh, that's really cool. That means if you have more than one, it's like a double exhaust. And I thought it was a really cool idea, and it was not explored in the game at all. And I was told that it will be too hard to track. And yet here we are.
Hmm. Like it is,
uh,
and and granted, this is only no, it is not only. So I'll point out this is different from effects like bailout because
oh, yeah.
bailout says the character does not ready during its controller's next ready phase. So if you
Correct.
want to be careful and you're playing with that stuff, you do need to be careful. Like we used to say, double twist was bailout. I guess double twist is this now, and you need to do something else
Yes.
to mean bailout.
You turn it 270 degrees.
I suppose.
Well, you could use some other marker for that. And notably with bailout, you cannot, if somebody bails out your friend, you cannot free it with angry mob second ability
Yeah.
because it cannot ready, which is I find interesting. There was some talk in the spoiler channels that like, oh, maybe we could like change bailout so it puts like 2 markers instead of the thing, right? But I think this distinction is important and interesting enough that nothing should be changed.
I think so. Yeah, and I mean that's only adventure. There are cards in core that do that too, right? Though, or are there?
Oh yeah, there's the Applejack main, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah.
The one you had on the first slide, actually.
Fair enough. Yes.
um,
I don't look at my placeholder cards. They're placeholders.
yeah, I think this card is really cool. A lot of applications. Exhausting is a core mechanic of the game that is used everywhere, so this affects a lot. Uh, I'm thinking immediately like AT gens. You can use AT gens twice. Uh, like you can use one AT gen twice per turn, right?
Yeah,
But you could also use it for other things as well.
yeah. Or you could use them all twice in the turn you combo off.
Yes. But like for AT gens, there's really no reason to exhaust them as soon as you can, right? Because
Yeah, Yeah.
Unless you're like unless uneven ground gets reprinted, and then you're sad and you go play Magic.
I just thought so. Orange has had a lot of stuff that exhausts your opponent's stuff over the years. Could you? I mean, you would need a lot of exhaustion stuff, but could you like do orange white and like donate this to the opponent and then start double exhausting their stuff and keeping it down?
Mm, I'm
That sounds like a lot of
that
work.
it is a lot of work, but it is an interesting area to explore. I think in like what you're thinking of would be cool to see on the main, you know?
Right, right.
Like a main that lets you double exhaust opponent's stuff. But I guess that would be too similar to work hard, play hard.
I think I'm gonna write that down. I think that's a cool idea for potential future exploration when we know the whole set.
But yeah. It's interesting that without the second ability on this resource, it'll be pretty much meaningless. Like you would never want to do that, I think. Unless you
Right.
like again bursting for like you need to do a lot of stuff right this second. Uh because like it's like depth, right? If you double exhaust everything, well it's not gonna ready next turn. And
Mm-hmm.
then well it will, but like we just won, so everything is still exhausted. And you can keep using it, but that's the same as just not doing that in the first place.
Right.
Like you're basically getting only one extra usage out of something for the
Right.
entire game. Uh, so the second paragraph actually here is what makes this card work.
You would have. Hmm. If you do it that way, your stuff would just always be exhausted, but you'd still be able to use your exhaustion
Yeah,
abilities.
which is distinctly worse. Well,
Generally worse.
generally, it is
Generally worse.
distinctly worse than just not doing this at all. Like, okay, you get one extra usage for the game, and the card is exhausted for the game, which is like, okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Generally.
Yeah, unless you play, I don't know, the easy card. Although easy is the main, so.
I mean, so there's like obviously, well, to some extent, it makes your opponent stealing your stuff worse because they're always getting an exhausted thing. Um,
Sure.
if you're playing stubborn cards, then it doesn't matter, but then it also doesn't matter. Um, any other weird
Oh my
play?
god.
You play Queen Novo because you're always going to lose every face off.
That's good. That's it. We cracked the Nova deck.
Oh, Novo's gone. She's Sequestria. Ah,
Yeah, we cracked it in adventure.
I guess.
Uh, I actually just thought of one pink card that might be really good with this, called Silverstream, the bucket.
Mm. Oh, Bucket Stream. Oh
Yes,
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it's because it's when she readies that the resource goes back. Yeah.
yes, and I think, well, I don't know how ready is defined exactly. Like if is removing one exhaustion counter marker counts as readying, or does that mean when the card becomes ready?
Ooh,
Because like there's ambiguity between ready the action and ready the state of the card, right?
that's an interesting. Like, well, okay. First of all, what exactly does that card say?
If this card would ready, you may pay one. If you do, this card remains exhausted and say, oh, this actually doesn't matter. Yeah, okay, this doesn't matter, but that's an interesting ambiguity nonetheless. Yeah, Silverstream main phase ability says exhaust this card to choose an opposing resource. While this card remains exhausted, you control that resource. So with Angry Mob, you can just keep snatching their resources
Yeah,
because it would remain permanently exhausted.
yeah.
Well, as long as you have Angry Mob in play. But like, yeah, but the second ability, there is ambiguity here, I'm pretty sure, right? Because it says if this card would ready, you may pay one. So can I pay 1 when it has 2 counters and I'm raiding it as part of my start of turn thing?
I mean, yeah. So now we'd have to go and see
I,
what exactly ready means in the rules.
well, ready probably just says remove an exhaustion marker. I
Well,
guess, I
if that
guess,
was the case, that sounds fairly unambiguous.
yeah, I guess. Well, where? Okay, which way does it work then?
Oh, so this is turning into that thing where how frighten is both an adjective and a verb.
Exactly, that's my point. Yes,
it's yeah, it's the same
but
thing.
but I think it's actually not as ambiguous as I thought because it says if this card would ready, so I like that implies that that's the state of the card.
I think so.
Because if
Yeah.
it was not state of the card, it would say if you would ready this card, right?
Right.
Or if this card would ready. That's that would be really ambiguous. But oh no, that's what it says. Oh, okay, never mind. Uh, Frankly, it does not matter in this particular scenario, like because you would never ever pay 1
Mhm.
with Angry Mob, but it is interesting to think about.
Something else to write down for later, perhaps.
Yeah, but yes, it is definitely an issue how ready is both a verb and an adjective. Just as you said, it means 2 different things, and I think in this text it could mean either way or either one of them.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Right. Yes. Bunnycorns. Summoning spell. 2 cost, 3 requirement, 2 yellow, orange, critter friend. It says at the end of the turn, choose one of your critter friends with at least 1 magic counter on it, and then put a token copy of that friend into play. So this is interesting. This is an incentive to put your magic counters on just
On
whatever
bunny
you
corns.
want. Oh well,
No, you
yes.
put it on bunny corns.
That you know what? That makes a lot of sense.
This is the discount Pegasus Royal Guard.
Yeah, yeah, that's true, isn't it?
They will just keep multiplying, which is like, it's very flavorful for bunnies.
Yep, yep.
But yeah, you could put it on other. You can put it on what's her name? The big Fluttershy.
Oh, that one. Yeah, the one
Yeah.
that saw all the play. Birds of a feather. Was that the
Yes.
name? Yeah.
How could I forget its name?
Well, yeah, she's just the big Fluttershy,
This is just the big Fluttershy. Yeah.
the one that's a critter.
There we go. Birds of a feather.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So yeah. It's either going to be a really impactful friend like that, or you're right. It's going to be infinite bunnycorns.
I like infinite bunnycorns. You just you have 1 and then 2 and then 4 and then 8.
That's right. Not even just infinite, exponential bunnycorn.
You could put it on. Mm, yeah, I think the prime targets are bunnycorns themselves, or very impactful friends like Fluttershy,
Mm-hmm.
or Buckwudgies.
That works. That works.
Of course, the problem is you need to draw into this.
Yeah. Well, you need to draw into this and something to put a magic counter on something.
That's true. This card does not put magic counters on anything.
Yeah. So we'll have to keep an eye out on yellow's opportunities for magic counters.
Yeah.
The partners for this card.
Oh my god. In Adventure, you can put this on the bunny app.
Oh.
Oh no.
Oh wow.
Oh no.
It is.
It's 1 extra point every turn. Well, as long as you confront.
Yeah. They do. like you get the extra stuff at the end of the turn. So there's a little bit of a delay, but yeah, that's bad. And the counters stay on if you put them on the frightened ones.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you frighten the one with the counter on it, then that counter would go away. So there is that to consider.
Yeah. You could put this on an adventure on. So here's the plan. You multiply unicorns until you have 45 of them, at least.
Okay.
And then and then at the end of your turn you copy orange you glad. So you gain 45 AT, and then you just miss main. There it is. We have the combo deck.
How long does it take to get to 40? What is that 6 turns?
It's
Exponential?
1, 2, 4, 8, 16. Yeah, it is 6 turns, I think.
Yeah.
Well, 6 turns you'd get to 64, right?
Right.
Oh, no. 6 turns you'd get to 32, actually. Because you start with a 1? I don't know. It's either 6 or 7
You're
turns.
right. You're right. 6
One
is,
of those two.
6 is 32. Yeah, because we started 0. Well,
Yes, we
started
0, yeah.
The exponent 0. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, that's what I meant. Oh, you could do okay. This is your new strawberry because you put this on guard geese. And if you have 2 of them, you get honestly, if you're doing bunnycorns, you should always multiply bunnycorns first, I think, and then you multiply other critters because then you get a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I feel. But maybe getting magic counters on 2 friends is hard. I don't know.
We'll see. I think the verdict is super cool card that gives you lots of options, though.
Yeah. I think this is more interesting than Royal Guards, even though Royal Guards were also interesting.
Oh, well, I mean, yes, right? Royal Guards is just more Royal Guards. This is more whatever you want.
As long as it's a critter.
As long as it's a critter, yeah.
But we have some cool critters.
I mean, you can in Harmony.
You can make something, into a critter.
Yeah.
Didn't we talk about that last stream?
I feel like we did, but I can't remember the context.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway.
Cool card. I like it.
Oh, right, yeah. And then there was... Oh, my goodness, we have so many of these left to go still.
We can speed up a little.
Maybe, yeah. Then we got to the last batch of the Sim releases. Our Zip main. Zip Storm in purple is at the start side. At the start of a face-off involving this card, turn this card over. Simple enough. Boosted side, home alert 4. With immediate speed during a face-off. Exhaust this card to choose one of your flip cards. Play that card as though it had hasty until the end of the face-off. If you do, flip an additional card. Give that flip card +3 power. So I want to make sure I'm aware of how this works. If you... Because the triggers can get a little bit crazy here. Suppose I flipped a card, and that card was Royal Family.
Okay.
I play it. That creates a trigger, right? We need to finish resolving Zip's trigger first, right?
Yeah, you flip the card first.
Yeah, we flip the card. It gets +3 power.
Yeah.
Now and we start resolving
Royal's processing Royal's family trigger. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's. I feel like people might, because that could be important sometimes. If the. I mean, yeah, it gets a little bit weird.
Well, when is it important? It's only important if the effect is not something like Royal Family, but something that does something to the top of your deck. Because that's when it's actually relevant. Do you have that card on top of your deck or not?
Well, or if it's something that allows you to do something to your flipped card.
Yes, which is not a lot of stuff lets you do that.
Yeah.
It's not a common effect, I would say. So I think, like in general play, this specific circumstance would not come up very often. Anyway, I think this is an aggro card.
Is it? I was thinking farm
Face.
all the way.
Oh, farm.
You run this in a deck that's all events and troublemakers, and you just play a bunch of crap.
Play more troublemakers.
I mean, they cost 1. Easy +3 power.
Does hasty on troublemakers even work?
I
Troublemakers don't have costs, actually.
Okay, so that's a legitimate question. I like hasty just says you may play this card as though you may play this card as an immediate action, right?
Yes, that's all hasty says.
That's all it says. So okay, I guess it is fair if that works on troublemakers or not.
Troublemakers don't have cost. You don't.
Yeah, you don't play them the same way you do normal cards. That's true.
Yeah, you play them as like there's a main phase action where you pay 1 and you put a troublemaker into play. Well, you play a troublemaker.
Okay, admittedly, if this doesn't work on troublemakers, then yes, this is not a farm.
I actually think, I don't know, maybe GP will correct us and maybe I'm being stupid. But I think the way this works is you pay 0 for the troublemaker because troublemaker does not have a cost, so you don't have to like clearly in the game you can play troublemakers. That's just true. You can, right? That's how troublemaker, like the main phase action, you pay 1 and then you play the troublemaker as a result of it.
Right.
So if a card says that you may play this card as an immediate action, it just lets you play the troublemaker as an immediate action instead of the main phase thing, whatever. So I would argue that you pay 0 for the troublemaker and you put it into play.
Well, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I don't think that's. I think I think my what's the word? Enthusiasm will be a little toned down a bit here with some rules or maybe some fixes to the rules. Who knows, right?
Who knows?
But
yeah.
I mean, it would be really, really cool. I would actually love that if it worked that way. It will be a purple farm deck.
I mean, yeah, that's certainly what I was thinking. You have a bunch of, events like your tranquilities and your such. Like, I would love to be in the position where I school shut down during a face-off just because I've emptied out my whole deck and I need to put more stuff in it. Which, that's actually a fair. So let me make sure that I've got that right. If I hasty a school shutdown, right? We do all the stuff and then I flip another card, right?
If you hasty a school shutdown, yes. I'm pretty sure. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
It's really weird the timing here because her ability is not a trigger. It's something that you activate and then it just floats around. And when you play that card, as soon as that happens, well, no, I guess you would flip before school shutdown because you play school shutdown, it goes into your Q zone, and at that point you already played the card, so you'd flip an additional card. I don't know.
I mean,
It's weird.
I thought we resolved the whole event.
So with, but
and they say Ponies doesn't have a stack.
when you play an event, first it goes into your Q zone, and at that point, the event has already been played. It just hasn't resolved yet because you resolve it in the Q zone. So this card does not have any timings, right? It doesn't say after. It says if you do, flip an additional. Like, for example, okay, let me give you an example. If you play an event and it gets cancelled by Chrysalis, you still played that event, even though it did not do anything.
Didn't you? I thought you only attempted to play it.
No, I'm pretty sure. Well, Chrysalis attempted to play the thing. I don't know. It's weird. Stop asking questions. I think Chrysalis specifically says attempted, right, on her main.
She does.
No, she does not. As an opponent plays their first non-troublemaker card each turn, they may pay blah 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 blah. Or cancel. So yes, the second card you play would be the second card, even if the first one was cancelled.
But then why is, like, her other effect says is the attempted to play thing, right?
No.
Oh.
I think we're actually thinking of Flurry Heart here. And the movement stuff. Where it's like, oh, is the thing that attempted to move and not like stopped by Flurry Heart? Like, remember all of that?
Right.
I think that's what you're thinking of.
Okay.
Because Chrysalis does not say anything like that.
All right, sure. Maybe I need to watch the Sim stream. Maybe they clarified all this.
Maybe, I don't know. But we wouldn't have so much fun and spend 10 minutes on each card.
Yeah. Anyway, I know what I want to do. I want to run a purple farm deck that has all events and troublemakers and has no friends.
I think if this card was easier to flip for a control deck, it would also be a fine control main, honestly.
Yeah, probably. It's not. Oh, right, staff's rotated.
Right. Like you play troublemakers and they start face-offs, and then you play events for free, basically, right? Well, you get some free thing that's flipped, and it's like an extra draw at that point, and then you get +3 power. That could be a thing for a control deck. Like, it's a nice thing for a control deck to have.
Yeah.
And then, like, there's spell for that. You don't play with your hand revealed, pretty much, which is very important for a control deck, I think. Anyway, yeah, I like this main. I think it has versatility.
Yeah. I think it's. Let me look again. Right, purple mains are competing against Celestia, who is very good general purpose.
Well, as long as you run the unicorns. Like, just note that there are not a lot of purple unicorns so far. In fact, we have seen exactly 0 of them.
That's a fair point. It is a fair point, actually. Yeah.
Or alicorns, for that matter.
Also a good point. That seems like, and maybe, I haven't seen the source material. It sure seems like there won't be that as many alicorns around.
There is at least one, and it's in the next slide.
That's true. Good segue. Sunny Star Scout. Unbridled Fury, 3 cost. 3 wreck and power in blue and orange. Is an alicorn, as you said. Also an Earth Pony. Is stubborn. And says, at immediate speed, exhaust this card to challenge an opposing or epic troublemaker here with this card. If this card has at least 1 magic counter, challenge that troublemaker with all your characters here instead. So, without the magic counter, that seems unlikely to succeed. Because it's just a 3 power character against a troublemaker.
Yeah.
With the counter, though, this is an immediate speed troublemaker face-off. Which, that seems pretty good.
Yeah, and it's not one time. You can do it again.
Mm-hmm. Even immediately again, if you have the angry mob.
Yeah. Oh, this face-off failed. Let's try again. Although, if you failed, you probably sent somebody home, so...
Yeah.
You don't have as good of a chances next time.
Yeah.
I will just point out that I think the flavoring here is so good. Because, like, as you said, without magic, without friendship, when you challenge the troublemaker alone, it's unlikely to succeed. But if you have a magic counter, you have all of your friends with you, and like even the flavor text, like, see the flavor text?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it just works so well. And like this is definitely like that's very sunny card.
yeah. Impressive. Yeah.
But yeah, repeatable troublemaker challenging. I mean, depends on what kind of decks are being played, right? But could be good, could be very good.
Yeah. I mean, so with the possibility to go epic, this, I mean, yeah, you look at farm again.
Yeah,
Um, this is it that good of a farm card? It's a 3 flip. A friend requires you to be in blue and purple, or sorry, blue and orange.
orange.
Telling you, it's a purple card. Anyway, um,
I have opinions on colors, but I will not voice them yet.
yeah. Um, like farm decks with friends in them has always been kind of this weird thing that has never quite worked, but has
I
always
mean,
felt like you.
Soleno Blue Farm exists. It does not
Yeah,
exist in New Core, but it did
it
in old.
did.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's not like it's not jumping out to me as oh yeah, it's totally viable thanks to this card, but maybe certainly as a anti troublemaker tool against opposing stuff. Yeah, pretty good. Especially if we're going to be in a world that's got fewer dilemmas than usual.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay, next one.
next one. Full mobilization. This I think is the last one of the batch that Sim dropped. 1 cost, 3 blue rec, 3 flip. At immediate speed during a face-off, put any number of cards from your hand into your flip zone, and they don't trigger the chaos ability because they didn't
Yeah,
get
because
flipped per se. So, um, yeah, it's power that counts. So yeah, this is 1 cost, probably win a face-off at the cost of
Yep.
some number of cards in your hand.
It's kind of like Starswell Research, if you think about it.
Yeah, similar. Similar.
Clearly, you play this card with Zip to play something at immediate speed for this. It's like burst of speed, but worse, much worse.
Yeah. I mean, it's not
Not burst of
terrible.
speed. I was thinking the Sonic Rainbow thing.
Oh, yeah.
Burst of speed is the Harmony card.
Breaking the barrier. That's what the card's called now.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
It gets very confusing with all the different names.
True. But yeah, yeah. So realistically, so let's see. Most cards are in like the 3 to 5 area, assuming that your deck's got a number of friends in it. So let's say 2 to 5 actually. Um, if the face-off is anywhere near close, then you're probably within 4 power of winning. So you're probably. I would say this is very rough math. I'm expecting that in a situation where you would play this, you're probably giving up 2 to 3 cards in your hand to win the face-off. Maybe one.
Well, it
to
has
three.
to be at least two. If you don't give up two, including full mobilization, you literally do nothing. Right.
Right. Yes. Sorry. Yes. Counting the full mobilization. Right. We're yeah.
Oh,
Two
you were not
to.
counting it? Yeah.
I
Okay.
wasn't counting it at first. Yeah. So yeah, 2 to 4 then. Um, Clearly better in a deck that's got a lot of high power stuff in it, which is to say events and resources. Or troublemakers.
Or orange or troublemakers. Yeah.
If it's a farm deck, yeah.
I honestly, maybe I'm missing something, but I honestly struggle to see why would I play this card. Like, it is a face-off trick, but you give up so many cards for that. Like, at least 2 cards from your hand.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of cards. And like, it's in blue, so it's not like you will have a handful of cards. It's not like you have, even if you're playing pink, you don't have Gabby anymore.
Yeah.
It's very sad. Like, even though like card advantage is converted and like IT is converted into card advantage in this game, still feels like it's important. And here it feels like you give up a lot of cards.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be a pretty valuable face-off. So I guess three
Maybe I'm missing
points.
some application because like it's just getting power in the face off for a fair cost. Like at least 2 AT, right? In like that
Probably.
value.
Yeah. So there's.
Oh,
Let me look. I mean, granted, this is getting into some strange colors, but let me like. So it's not chaos, but isn't there like some some cards that are worded like if you would put a flipped card on the bottom of your deck, do a thing instead? I'm trying to remember. I think there are some cards that are worded like that.
well, there was the cozy. I think maybe you're thinking of the cozy glow that if you put non-chaotic cards on the bottom of the deck, you put them on top instead.
Hmm. Well, okay, that's not a very helpful text.
Well, you keep the cards, I guess. Well, you don't lose the cards you're putting in there, but like, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I'm probably missing something. Maybe this card is better than it is, but I don't see
I
much
mean,
application.
cards are allowed to be bad.
I mean, sure. Like, even if you get rid of, like, imagine you're playing farm deck or something, right? And you play this card and you put a 7 power troublemaker into your flip. So you get +7, so you win the face off or whatnot. But then you don't have the troublemaker anymore. Can't play it, and you kind of want the trouble. Like you would rather, I think you would rather have a troublemaker in your hand, honestly.
I don't know about that. Like it's. I mean, okay, I don't have as much experience playing farm decks either. So
I mean, yeah, we should ask Pancake.
yeah,
Is there a situation where you would rather lose a face off or lose a troublemaker? From, like, if you could, you spent 2 cards from your hand. One of them is a troublemaker to win a troublemaker face off. Would you do that?
like so much of farm to me seems to be about maximizing the efficiency of your face-offs because it seems like when farm decks lose, I'm making sweeping generalizations here, but when they lose, it seems to be because they took too much time, right?
Or they ran out of their troublemakers?
Or they ran out of trouble. Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah.
Like if a farm deck is not getting any troublemakers, it does not win.
Yeah.
Like flipping a troublemaker in a farm deck is kind of bad actually, because you'd rather draw it, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't know. Yeah, yeah, we've spent a lot of time on this card. Um, any card that solicits that much debate is at least good for something, I guess.
sure.
That's what we'll say.
It's a cool card.
It's a
The
cool card.
effect is cool,
Yeah.
but I don't think it's good.
Okay. Mm, wait.
Next
Oops.
card, this one again. You
Did
have
I? Oh,
duplicates.
I screwed it up. Oh shoot. Oh well.
Was there something else that was
Oh
supposed to be
shoot.
there?
Yeah, yeah. There's. Okay. Give me a second.
Oh, but you spoiled.
It was a brief flash.
Spoilers.
Spoilers. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there was supposed that was supposed to be Diamond Song's card.
Ah, that's right.
But
The full
there's
name drop.
yeah, there it is. Oh yeah, they see they both start with full. I probably just clicked on something wrong. Okay, so that's there. That's there. This is here. All right. Yes. So yes, this card was just revealed yesterday. Yesterday, I think. Um, 2 cost, 2 yellow requirement. Lives for 4. At immediate speed, put a friend, resource, or troublemaker with no magic counters on it into its owner's hand.
It's a bounce.
2 cost, immediate speed, bounce. Fairly unconditional.
Okay.
Mostly unconditional.
So no. The thing here is that it's so unconditional that you can bounce your own things, which is very, very rare, actually.
That is true.
Most of bounce effects say you bounce opposing stuff. I think there's like 2 other cards that let you bounce your own things, and this is one of them.
Yeah, and yellow, I feel like I've done, or at least tried, to do self bounce before. And like,
Yes, I remember you played at the tournament with that Celestia main.
yeah.
It was like your own take on BRB. It was really cool. See, it
Yeah.
was so cool that I remembered it. I don't remember things usually, but I remembered that deck.
Yeah. So
Do
yeah,
you remember that deck?
I remember it very vaguely. I don't remember
Okay.
exactly what was in it, but I do remember having played it, yes.
It was blue, yellow. You were using you were plushy dashing and so on. You were putting things back instead of retiring stuff into your hand. Like it was cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is starting to come back to me now.
Anyway.
So yeah, it is a viable thing for yellow to be able to do. I guess, especially with blue, probably. Blue does tend to have a lot of good enters play abilities for aggro. So yeah, that is good versatility, and also, I think this is the most powerful form of enemy stuff disruption that we've seen before as well. Like we've had it at 2 cost, but I think not at immediate unconditional anything.
Well, the condition is magic counters, of course.
Whatever.
Depend if your opponent plays magic counters, this card becomes useless.
I mean, not useless.
Because all of their relevant stuff will have
all their
magic counters
relevant
in it.
stuff will have magic counters on it. Sure, maybe. Yeah.
Like imagine that spike card.
Well, I mean,
I guess you wouldn't want to bounce that one anyway.
Well, I mean, it's 5 cost. If it's in their hand, it's kind of hard for them to get into play again.
I guess, yeah.
And I think, like, if the threat of this forces them to keep a counter on that spike card, I think that might be worth it too.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a nice, good tool. Something for the Magic counter decks to think about if they're playing against yellow. Something for the yellow deck to think about. Don't put any Magic counters on things you want to bounce.
Yeah.
On your own side.
But yeah, it's a nice card. For me, the coolest thing is that it lets you bounce your own stuff. That's very rare, and it's really cool. But generally, it seems like a generally good card.
Mm-hmm.
And also, 2 rack means other colors can use it too, as like a side.
Oh yeah.
Flash.
Oh yeah.
Purple yellow control.
Purple yellow is not a control color.
What do you mean?
I'm talking about Magic Overload.
Sure, orange yellow.
Orange yellow, sure. Orange yellow. Thorax is gone. Yeah. Orange yellow can be control now.
No thorax, no training water. It's the only reason to play orange yellow, right? Training water.
Kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, I like this card.
All right. So, yeah, you saw a little glimpse of it earlier. Let's just get to it. We have another main. It's 5 now. Probably one more coming. Probably.
Nah. That's it,
yeah.
5 mains.
Blue just doesn't get a main.
Blue doesn't get a main.
So, Sunny and Orange. Sunny Star Scout. Stronger together. On the main phase. Or, sorry, on the start side. In the main. We've been steering for too long. Anyway, while there are 2 or more friends at this card's problem, and at least 2 of those friends do not share any traits, turn this card over. On the boosted side, home limit 5, again. During the main phase, exhaust this card to put a +1 power counter on one of your friends. If the card is frightened, unfrighten it. And the counter stays, because that's how counters work.
Yes, unfrightened.
Sorry?
Unfrightened is such a weird word.
It's the right word. Unfortunately, perhaps.
Well, there's also rally.
But rally is the main phase action.
No, not necessarily, right? Oh, no, it is necessarily.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, to flip this, you probably you wait. So the hope is that your opponent plays something to a problem, a friend. It's got to be a friend, and that's got a trait that's not on the thing in your hand, and then you move this over there and play something in your hand, and then you flip this card over. I think that's the most realistic scenario to hope for.
That is so hard.
It is, yeah. Yeah. Or I guess you make sure that you have a diverse. You would need to have a diverse set of traits on your entry stuff to flip her yourself.
Yes.
Just not. Well, I mean, we'll see. The entry cycle from Fond Memories had a fairly diverse set of traits, right? I think so.
Yeah, I mean, any entry cycle in different color, like you can find different traits in entry. Yeah, it's like the hardest part here is that they must share no traits at all. It's not that some of the traits can be different.
That is a fair point, actually.
So if you have like 2 allies and one of them like is a griffin and another one is a dragon, that doesn't work because they share ally.
Griffins aren't.
Well,
allies.
they would not be ally, but like something.
Yeah. No,
royalty.
I get what you mean. Yeah.
Like let's say you have Pegasus royalty and Alicorn royalty, and that's kind of. So is Sunny the first Alicorn that's not a royalty? That's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, I think so.
Although Twilight Sparkle's technically not royalty. Changed my mind.
I mean that's a complicated question that gets into a lot of matters that are not deeply addressed in the show.
Like I mean, the way you become royalty, you're being born into it, right?
That's not strictly speaking true. Like you can it is, if we're in like an imperial sense, the emperor can make someone a king just by saying, yeah, the area you control is big enough to qualify as a kingdom, so now you're a king.
I guess that's kind of what happened in Fim. Anyway.
So yeah, this is. I think you're probably right that this is. It's kind of similar to what we saw with Hitch at the start of the stream, right?
Yeah.
This is a fairly significant hump to have to crawl over, to get there. In terms of other, like what is it? Oh right, and this is competing against Grogar. That's right.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yes. It's very hard to flip, but the boosted side effect is pretty good. It is a free. It's too like if something keeps getting frightened on your side, like you unfrightening it alone is already 2 ET of value, and you get the power counter. So remember that zip. gets even better with this card.
Ah, right. Yeah. Well, so like the counter will fall off the next time it gets frightened.
Yeah, but like I'm
But
thinking of just the unfrightened value
I mean,
here,
yeah,
which
yeah,
is
yeah. Like yeah, it is a ruckus shovel. But yeah, if you're able to consistently use it for its unfrightened, that's really good. That's a good point.
yeah. And also angry mob is a thing in orange.
Hmm.
Can exhaust this twice. Although again,
Wait, is it
angry mob.
is it characters or is it just friends?
I thought it's character. I thought the second ability is just friends. Let me check. No, it's just friends. Never mind. No angry mob shenanigans. Although I think on angry mob it'll be fine if the first ability said characters, but the second one said friends. Then you could only use this main twice once per game. Anyway,
Anyway,
yeah, I think it. I think this is a main that you have to build your deck around necessarily, both boosted and start side. And I also think that like if I don't know from the top of my head, but like if there is some good synergies with frightening stuff somehow, like your own stuff,
well,
I
that's
think this main becomes really good. But without that, it's just a Rockhoof shovel, yeah.
frightening your own stuff is called a farm deck if there are friends in it.
I don't think you're competing
That's
with
no,
Grogger in this
it's
area.
it's not happening. No.
But yeah, I think it's a cool main.
Yeah, as you mentioned, really good synergy with persistent. Well, not necessarily really good synergy with persistent effects. Really good synergy with that zip.
But yeah,
All right,
yeah,
and we have
and
one more, right?
yeah,
Unless I sorry,
no,
unless you had something else to say.
no, no,
Okay, one more. 0 bars.
no.
Cost 1. 2 requirement. 5 power. Add immediate speed. Choose one. Reduce each player's max hand size and home limit by 2 until the end of the turn. Or each player must immediately resolve their maximum hand size and home limit. If you play this card during your main phase, choose both instead. So, does have pretty good synergy with that pip main. You're gonna
Yeah,
force you're very likely, unless your opponent has nothing at home and has a fairly empty hand, you're very likely going to force them to discard or retire something that they probably didn't want to discard or retire.
yep,
Uh, you, since, well, okay, if you're playing it in your main phase, in theory, you can play around it. You can get stuff out of your main, get stuff out of your hand, and not
yes.
have to deal with the effect as badly.
But like, okay, so would you play this in your like? How do I put this? Is there any reason to play it in your main phase instead of playing it at the end of your opponent's turn? Because at the end of your opponent's turn, you get exactly the same effect, except it doesn't affect you.
Um, at the end, so right before they would have to do their hand limit
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
anyway. Uh, wait, doesn't
It's not.
the doesn't the
It's not.
the modifier end before? Like, when
Does
does
it?
that end of
Well,
turn modifier end exactly? It's some weird point, right?
no. Until the end of the turn happens, like until basically the transition of the turns.
Oh,
You're
okay.
thinking of at the end of the turn trigger, which would
Ah,
happen before. Yeah.
okay,
Uh,
okay.
but here it is. Otherwise, the first ability would just not make sense, right? It would do literally nothing without the second one.
I guess that's a fair point. Sure.
Yeah. But like, so the thing is like, so my point here is that not a lot of things will happen between the end of your opponent's turn and your main phase, right? So why not just play it at the end of the opponent? Like, unless you don't have wreck, or you don't have like, or you
Right.
just drew into this card, you didn't have it before. So yeah, those are the reasons you might play it during your main phase. But
The
I think
reason, well,
generally,
the reason would be
yeah,
if you want to discard stuff, if you're playing Reanimator or something like that.
sure. If you want, yeah, if you really want this to affect yourself, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, if it is a good point. If you do not want it to affect yourself, then yeah, there's not much reason that I can see to play it other than just yeah, right at the end of your opponent's turn.
Yeah. But I mean, I like this card. Home limit by 2 as a surprise trick is an interesting removal option.
Mm-hmm.
And hand limit. But I think hand size is generally less relevant than home limit for most of the decks. Hand size is very relevant for a control deck, like if you're playing against a control deck.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, a lot of decks are not control. All decks that are not control are not control. Uh, and for them, it's generally home limit
Yeah.
is very relevant. And if they have home limit of 4 and you hit them with the surprise, oh, it's 2 now, that can be a very harsh hit.
Yeah. Especially if they've just done a double face off and all their stuff's at home.
Yeah, and they spent like 10 minutes deciding what to retire, and then you're like, oh, retire more stuff, please.
Yeah. That does. Yeah, you're playing it in the priority window right after. Wait, there is a
No, I
window
don't think you
after
can.
that.
You have to do
No.
it before. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Unless something would like if something triggered, I think there's a new priority. Like I think there are circumstances where you could play this after they retired something.
Right.
If they had like triggers, I think that opens a priority window, but I don't remember.
Right. But yeah, there's no reason not to just like as a response to the end phase starting, basically, is when you play it.
Yeah. Yeah, nice card. Also, only 2 rec. Pretty good. You could splash into this as well. Ultra rare.
Yep. It's I like cheap ultra rares with relatively like Pinky Sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Relatively like impactful, but not like not big, not
Yes. Ultra rares don't necessarily have to be big cards. Yes, I know what you mean.
yeah.
Not teamy cards.
Exactly. Yes. All right. And that's it. Those are the two that we have to show you today. And total of what did I say? Total of 18, 19 cards. What did you say?
18.
18. Yeah. And that took us 2 hours. We know we're gonna have a set review coming this year, right?
Yeah, well, we'll probably not spend as much time on each card on set review, but it will still last 2 hours. 2 hours, sorry, 8 hours, I meant to say.
Well, I mean, it'll last 2
Yeah.
hours as well, for sure, yes.
Yeah, it will last 2 hours for sure, and more.
And more. Yeah. All right.
I like the cards. All of the cards we've seen so far are pretty cool.
Yeah. Some of them, as we saw, are a little bit maybe like filler draft cards, as you said. But they've all been interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And I really feel like G5 is what's the word? A breath of fresh air. How do you say that?
Well, yes.
That's how I said it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like it feels fresh, and maybe I'm biased because I do like G5, even though there are flaws with it. But I think
Like so,
I don't know. There's
it strikes me, even just this card, right? And this is from a storytelling perspective and stuff. But like, suddenly we're gonna be in. I guess this is me talking as the person who hasn't seen much G5.
Yeah.
We're going to be in the world where, connectivity exists. People
Yes.
can just phone up their friends at a time,
Yes.
as long as they have bars.
There was a joke in one of the episodes about that, like, oh, she's all the way over there. How are we gonna tell her about this thing that is about to happen? We could just call her.
Yeah, that it's a new storytelling paradigm. Interesting to see where that goes.
Yeah, some people don't like that technology is so present in G5, and they say it doesn't make sense. I know, I think it does, but I do like it. It's a nice. I mean, even in G4, technology was fairly present. Like they had a lot of tech stuff. It was kind of a mix between a non-tech world and a tech world, right? They had, like, look at Manhattan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all of the things there, or the entire Coloratura episode with like a stage, lights, uh, like that means they had electricity, all of that, right? Or it was some sort of magic. I don't know,
Yeah.
but it was a tech world in some sort. Anyway,
Anyway, but yeah, that is gonna be our stream for this week. We will next be here. Let's say it's June 1st. It's gonna be June 8th, I think.
yeah,
2 weeks from now. We'll let you know what the topic's gonna be. We're starting to get into. I mean, well, we got some months to go. We're starting to get into convention season. When's Windy City again? It's gonna be like soonish, right?
yeah,
Right. Oh yeah, it's actually gonna be that weekend. Um, so yeah, we'll probably have results from that the stream after that. Um,
yeah.
um, but yeah. In the meantime, thank you everyone for coming out and watching. Got a pretty good sized crowd here this week. Um, until next time, I have been Cursor Chords.
I've been Hifrock.
We'll see you soon.
Bye.